Today we're diving into the music of a band that defined the sound of the late 70s and early 80s, the Cars. These guys were masters of crafting infectious melodies and merging them with this unique blend of new wave and power pop. Over the next few minutes, we're gonna take this vintage ride through their musical journey. So buckle up, it's gonna be a fun ride. The Cars' story begins in the heart of the 70s in Boston. This was a time when rock was evolving. Punk was raw and in your face, new wave was experimenting with synthesizers, and power pop was taking the catchiness of pop music and giving it a rock edge. The band's core, Rick Ocasek and Benjamin Orr, had been playing music together in various lineups for years before the Cars even took shape. They'd been in bands with names like Milkwood and Richard and the Rabbits, cutting their teeth in the Boston club scene. It was during this period that their songwriting partnership began to flourish. Ocasek had this knack for crafting these incredibly catchy hooks and melodies. They just stuck in your head. And Orr, man, he had this voice that could melt butter. When they finally formed the Cars in 1976, adding Elliot Easton on guitar, Greg Hawkes on keyboards, and David Robinson on drums, the pieces fell into place. Their self-titled debut album, released in 1978, was an instant smash. It shot up the charts, fueled by hits like Just What I Needed, My Best Friend's Girl, and Good Times Roll. The Cars had managed to capture a sound that was both familiar and fresh. It had the energy of rock, the sheen of pop, and this new wave sensibility that was all their own. The Cars were more than just a band, they were a cultural phenomenon. Alright, let's talk about the albums that launched the Cars into the musical stratosphere. Their self-titled debut, The Cars, was just the tip of the iceberg. It went on to sell over 6 million copies, solidifying their place as major players in the music scene. Candy O, their sophomore album released in 1979, proved they weren't just a one-trick pony. It doubled down on the new wave experimentation, featuring iconic tracks like Let's Go and Dangerous Type. Then came 1981's Panorama, an album that saw them stretching their musical muscles even further. But it was 1984's Heartbeat City that became their magnum opus. This album was a monster hit, spawning a string of unforgettable singles that dominated the airwaves. You might think, with its groundbreaking music video, became an MTV staple. The Cars had reached their peak, becoming one of the biggest bands in the world. Alright, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the songs that made the Cars the icons they are today. These are the tracks that dominated the airwaves, fueled countless mixtapes, and continue to resonate with music lovers decades later. First up, we've got Just What I Needed, the song that introduced the world to the Cars' signature sound. Next, we have My Best Friend's Girl, a tale of teenage angst and longing that resonated with anyone who'd ever had their heart broken. Good Times Roll was a blast of pure energy, a song that just made you want to get up and dance. Let's Go, with its infectious chorus and driving rhythm, became another signature Cars track. Dangerous Type showcased the band's darker side, with its edgy lyrics and haunting melody. Touch and Go was a slower, more atmospheric track that showcased the band's ability to create moods and textures. Shake It Up was pure 80s pop perfection. Magic was a power ballad masterpiece, showcasing Benjamin Orr's incredible vocal range and emotional depth. You Might Think was a groundbreaking track both musically and visually. Its innovative music video, featuring early computer animation, helped define the look of MTV's early days. And finally, we have Drive, the song that transcended genres and generations. Orr's heartfelt vocals, coupled with the song's haunting melody and lyrics, made it an instant classic. Now let's talk about the guys behind the music, the individuals who made up the Cars. Each member brought their own unique talents and personalities to the table, creating a dynamic that fueled their success. First up, we've got Rick Ocasek, the band's primary songwriter, rhythm guitarist, and vocalist. Ocasek was the creative force behind the Cars, penning most of their hit songs. Next, we have Benjamin Orr, the band's bassist and co-lead vocalist. Orr's smooth, soulful voice was the perfect counterpoint to Ocasek's more angular vocals. Elliot Easton was the band's lead guitarist, and man, could he play. Greg Hawkes, the band's keyboardist, was a master of texture and atmosphere. And finally, we have David Robinson, the band's drummer. Together, these 5 musicians created a sound that was both unique and unforgettable. So there you have it, a deep dive into the world of the Cars. We've journeyed through their origins, explored their chart-topping albums, and dissected their hit-making formula. The Cars were more than just a band. They left behind a catalog of incredible music, songs that continue to resonate with listeners of all ages. Until next time, keep the music playing,